What's up? It's Matt. I'm back with a solo MPTV, and today we are talking about September and October retention ideas. I've done a few of these where I've talked about excuses, ideas, opportunities for you to talk to your audience on social media, email, and text differently than you are right now. So let's think about what just happened. What just started 2 weeks ago as I record this, which maybe by the time it goes live, it's about 4 weeks ago. It's called the NFL. So if you look at August and September, there are 2 or 3 golden opportunities to engage your customer base. You know, if you look at most restaurants' Facebook pages, if you look at the Instagram, if you look at the news feeds on any social media, if you look at the emails, if I was to go to my inbox right now and search for restaurant emails, 9.99999 out of 10 that aren't our clients, just random restaurants, the email's about you. About your food, about your alcohol, about your wine night, about an event you're having, about music. You're not talking to your customers, you're talking at them. And I always go back to 2018. I spoke at a conference for Facebook Messenger and ManyChat in Austin, Texas, and it was called Conversations. Why was it called Conversations? Because the goal, the outcome that Facebook and Instagram want on their platform is a conversation between you and your customer. The problem is most of you are abusing that conversation. It's not a conversation. It's you yelling at people. It's you constantly just spewing your marketing nonsense versus create conversation. So let's give you a couple excuses. I'm going to give you 2. So August, September, you have great opportunities. Guess what happens every week? Except for one time in the next 3 months, your home team, if you have an NFL team, will have a game. It's a great opportunity for you to maybe do a contest. Who's going to win the game this week? Now, I'll say this. Don't say Cincinnati Bengals. Maybe say who's going to win the game this week, Cincinnati versus who they play this week. They play Thursday night. They play Miami Dolphins. So you could say, who's going to win, Cincinnati or Miami? Those aren't trademarked. Those are cities. People know what you're talking about. But that post, you can do a simple contest and get people to guess underneath that post about the score, about who's going to win. Now, I'll say this. If you're in Cincinnati, I wouldn't ask who's going to win. I would maybe ask for a score. But let's back it up a little bit. Max can maybe rewind that in post-production. Let's go to August. Because my son 2 years ago, he's 18 now. He's a senior in high school. 2 years ago, we have a great theater in our basement. It's awesome to watch sports and anything, really. I couldn't bribe him to come to the theater, especially to watch football. Now he's down there all the time. So I go down there Sunday. I'm going down to get in the hot tub in the morning, which is kind of one of my routines in the late morning. And it's like 10:30 a.m., and I see the doors are closed in the theater, and the lights are on the TV. Open up, like, what are you doing, bro? Watching the fantasy show. He's literally in there for like 2.5 hours before NFL starts, watching the fantasy stuff, looking at his phone, and he sat in that room from like 1 to 9 o'clock on Sunday watching the NFL. The reason he's in there wasn't because he wanted to watch the teams. He was watching his phone. He's watching this device for his fantasy team. So the reason I bring that up is that's another conversation that in August you could have been having posts, and you could save this for 2023 about, hey, the NFL season's upon us. That means fantasy football. Who's number 1 on your board? And guess what? People would comment. And the reason I love these retention campaigns, it's an opportunity for you not only to make a social media post about a topic that is near and dear to a good part of your audience, but it also gives you an excuse to do an email or a text message. Because right now, your email for Sunday football is about people coming to eat or doing to-go orders or doing a delivery order. Instead of talking about your food to drive sales for the NFL, talk about the NFL to drive sales. Because if your Facebook post about getting food for this Sunday's game or having your fantasy draft at our restaurant, it's going to get 2 or 3 comments, maybe 1 share, like your mom, your spouse might share it for you. Then you're going to get 5 or 6 likes. But if you put on there who's on your top of your board, who are your top 3 people that you got to draft, comment below. We're going to give a $100 gift card to somebody who comments below in the next 2 weeks. Guess what? People start commenting. And when they comment, birds of a feather comment, because the algorithm, which is Facebook or Instagram in this example, will look at it and say, oh, okay, The first 25 people that commented are from this zip code. They're this old. They have this many kids. They'll start finding people on those people's timelines that look just like that are predisposed to engaging in NFL, football, fantasy talk. And now all of a sudden you get a post on your wall that gets 300 comments versus your mom and your wife commenting. The next step is you take that, put it in an email. So let's just say best case scenario, you have an email that is segmented, men or women. Well, men are going to be more inclined to engage in a contest about fantasy or just guessing the score of the game. So now you take your men, you do an email to that database and say, hey, we're giving away a $100 gift card to somebody that guesses the best guess of the score on this Sunday's game. Click below to guess on Facebook. They go and they guess there. The cool part about that is now you just drove even more traffic to that post, which gets even more comments, which guess what? Gets Facebook's algorithm fired up again. And then let's say you have some what I call smart text and email. Let's say you have it set up like we do to when somebody clicks on that email, or let's say doesn't, we can have it set up a day later to text them. So they didn't click on the email, which was our desired outcome, our call to action. So we then text them. We don't bug the people who did, just the people who didn't. So that's the opportunity for August and September is NFL. And even NFL, September, October, November, and December. Then as you get into January, February, you get the playoffs. Then you can start asking who's going to win that week. If your team's gone, Cincinnati, typically the team is gone. So if you're a restaurant in this area, you're more than likely, maybe this year we'll get lucky again, 2 years in a row the Bengals, but let's not hold our breath. The next opportunity, which is a gold mine, I just talked about men, let's talk about the women. And I'll ask my studio audience here. I've got 2 people in the studio. What is happening in October that every woman with kids in every city will be posting about towards the end of the month? Halloween. Little dudes and their little outfits, costumes. You could do this early in October and say, moms, we want to see your favorite Halloween picks from years past. We're gearing up. We can't wait to go get candy and trick-or-treat in a few weeks. Post below a picture of your little one that you really like and you're in a contest winning a $25 gift card. Or you could even say, maybe, what are they dressing up like this year? Do you have the costume picked out? Because guess what? Like my wife, that was like September. That was the time. Like, okay, I'm planning. She's all over this store, Amazon. She's looking everywhere. So they know it. So you got football in August, September. You got Halloween in October. These are great ways that you can engage with your audience outside of your food, blah, blah, blah. My pizza, my wings, my barbecue, my salads, my beer. Nobody really gives a shit. If they love your brand, they are going to come. And at the end of the day, if you can get them to come more often, you win, right? Well, the way you get them to come more often is by them seeing you more often. And if you constantly post stuff on social media that gets no engagement, if you constantly email stuff about you that gets no opens, if you constantly text people that gets them to opt out, they don't see you. And I just did a podcast the other day on my audio-only podcast. It's Restaurant Marketing Secrets. You can go to Spotify, iTunes, and find it. That I talked about the difference between 100 and 1,000. That if Matt Plapp is a great customer of your restaurants, let's say you're Strong's Brook Oven Pizza in Union, Kentucky, love it, probably one of the best pizzas I've ever had in this area. They've got this pizza called the Hot and Spicy, Almost Famous. I can eat it every day. I could probably eat it 3 or 4 times a week if I could. I don't need to know how great the pizza is. I just need to see the name Strong's more often. Now, they're very fortunate because I have no choice but to drive by them probably 10 times a day. I can't get around them. It's here. My house is here. The school's here. I'm seeing it. Great location. But imagine if they were really, really strong in marketing. Because if you look at Matt Plapp, who loves that product, it's not their product that gets me to eat there. It's the simple acknowledgement of their name. And so if I'm on Facebook and I see Strong's, if I'm on email and I see Strong's, if I'm on text and I see Strong's, radio, TV, direct mail, driving, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, I'm going to go, oh, Strong's sounds good. I'm going to go pick my phone up and go, hey, Christy, Strong's tonight? Yeah, okay, cool. That's how it happens. It's 1 to 1,000. If Matt Plapp sees your message 100 times a year, it'll drive X number of visits. If I see your brand 1,000 times a year, I eat a hell of a lot more pizza. That's all we got. That's the retention for, I guess we'll call it August, September, October. I'll see you next month. I'm Matt Plapp, MPTV. If you need help for your restaurant, if you're looking for an unfair advantage like this all year round, we are fortunate to have a team of 54 strong that work with people like you. Go to americasbestrestaurants.com/stats. Watch a cool video, look at some scary stats, click the button, and have a conversation with us. I'll see you next episode.